Ashan, one last thing. I'm so sorry. I forgot to mention. If you wanted to, if it's last minute, you can connect the Metana socials and it will stream to those.
Right. I let
Only if you
me.
want to, if you've got easy access, then it's a nice
I,
easy one. If not,
wait,
no
wait,
worries. It's
wait,
still last
let me
minute.
just. I'll quickly ask Zara and come. She's the one who's handling the social media.
Yeah, yeah.
Let me just let her know. Give me
Great.
1 second.
All right. It's always a sudden stop at the end of those. I need to nice, smooth. But guys, welcome to another fantastic workshop.
Hello.
We are currently live in Decentraland. And if you're not there, please go ahead, jump into Decentraland, tap the word go to /6,88 in your little chat bar, and you'll be able to jump straight into where we are. We are currently live streaming right now. There we go. We're in world right now, and we'd love you to join us there. We can take questions. Oh, look at this. Who's joining us? We've got Mara Adera. It's fantastic. Thank you so much. And let me jump back. We're joined by Ashane today from Metana.
Hey.
Ashane, how are you doing?
I am doing amazing. Very excited for the workshop.
Me too. You gave me a little sneak peek earlier, and it looks fantastic. And for those that don't know Metana, would you be able to give us a quick overview of what is Metana and what are you guys doing?
Yeah, certainly. So my name is Ashane. I am the content and community team lead here at Metana. So Metana is a expert coding bootcamp provider with a twist. The twist is that anyone who does our boot camps or graduates from one of them, we guarantee that we will place you with one of our recruiting partners, or we will help you get hired within 6 months, and that comes with a job guarantee. Say that you don't get hired after 6 months of graduating, you're going to get 100% of your tuition right back. We are very prevalent. We are very active in the Web3 industry. We've also been active in the Web2 space as well as cybersecurity. And right now, the big focus is on AI and how to get ahead with it. So we've actually launched a few boot camps that focus exactly on that. So yeah, that's what Metana is.
It's pretty nuts, to be able to say if you don't get a job for doing our course, you get your money back. I wish all universities were like this. I saw that Harvard University makes $6 billion a year. I'm pretty sure they don't have that same guarantee, right? That if you can't get a job straight out of Harvard, you're going to get your tuition fees back, which are close to $500,000 to $1 million for the full term.
Exactly.
So really cool.
With the research that we do, we have like a whole team dedicated for career success here at Metana. Me personally, I was personally the head of that team and then moved on to content and community. There's a whole lot of things that go in the background, and you guys will understand with this workshop where I give you guys a hack or a strategy, if you want to call it, to get hired in today's industry, today's job market, where it takes over like thousands of applications for you to not even get an interview.
Yeah.
So a lot of research, a lot of strategies, a lot of brain work.
Really good. I can't wait to get stuck in. I mean, this is the title of the workshop today: Outsmart AI, Get Hired in Web3. One of the things that we're really seeing on our side at the moment is the with Web3 career, the amount of applications is definitely going up, right, in terms of for roles.
Yes, there is a trend like that.
We're seeing that a lot of our companies that work with us, they'll have, they used to have like a couple of hundred, and a bit of a pain when they first post a job. Now it's a couple of thousand, even for kind of entry to senior jobs. So AI is really, it's really starting to break this hiring system.
Yes, and it's that number of applications that keep increasing. It works counterintuitively towards the applicants themselves. The more the number of applications a single recruiter gets, the more the ATS system's going to try to make their jobs easier and eliminate more and more CVs and auto reject. Yeah. So what I'm going to teach people today is a better way to completely bypass that, essentially.
I love it. So I was going to ask you that exact question. At the end of this workshop, what do you want users to be able to walk away with?
A surefire strategy that has worked for our students to make sure you guys land interviews. It'll make sense why landing an interview is important as we go through the workshop, but essentially a surefire strategy to make sure you land interviews.
Amazing. Let's dive in, Ashane, and I'll hand it over to yourself. And I may well just keep interrupting here or there. Although I have to admit, my builders have just arrived. So there may be some banging in the background, but we will see. We push through and overcome. So Ashane, I'll hand it over to you, and I'll be interjecting as you go. So talk us through Outsmart AI.
Yeah, I'd love a back and forth. If you have any questions, if the chat has any questions, please direct them my way. I'll be more than happy to answer them.
Yeah. And actually on the Decentraland chat, so again, shout out to Decentraland, seeing a few more people pop in here. That's fantastic. We've got Cam Music, we've got King D's Hands, we've got Marada. Guys, thanks so much. Make sure you claim the Web3 career wearables, by the way. They're really cool.
Wearable, actually.
It is. Yeah, it's the full outfit. We've got the trousers.
Nice.
It's all going. It's all popping. Amazing. But let's dive in, okay? And guys who are there live in chat, or if you're watching this on YouTube, on X, or anything like that, add a comment, add something in the chat, and we can put that forward to Ashane straight away. But let's dive in. Outsmart AI and today's job market.
Yes. So AI is a very big thing at the moment. It's popping up everywhere. It's going viral. It's like if you make a reel on AI, it's sure to get you more views than if you didn't. And everyone's like hopping on the AI train. And it has good things and bad things that it like essentially means for people. Some people, they get their jobs taken away by AI, but at the same time, AI still does create new job opportunities as well. So it's give or take. Right. But that's not what we're talking here today. We're talking about the current state of the job market, and it's broken at the moment. It really is broken. And you don't need me to tell it to anyone. If you guys like are in like those recruiting subreddits on Reddit or any other communities related to finding placement in tech or Web3, you guys would know how difficult it is to actually get placed, especially in countries like the US, the Canada, and the UK. right? So that's what we're going to be focusing on. So I've already given an example, explanation about who I am, what Metana is. So I'll just be going right ahead to what we're going to talk about today. So the agenda is simple. The workshop's going to have 3 different parts. We're going to have a beginning, a middle, and the end. So first, we're going to understand what the problem is with today's job market. I'm going to show you a few statistics, some user stories. So the user stories are important because this is things that are happening to real people. It's not just a bunch of stats that are out there. It's like happening to real people. And I'll use that to explain the current state of the job market. And then we'll dive into where this issue stems from, what the root cause is, and explain what has changed and made the job market broken today, and how AI plays a role in it, right? So I wouldn't say is the biggest issue here, but it is something that's adding on fuel to the fire, I would say. But once all that's done, we're going to be going into giving you guys a strategy on how you can overcome that project. And if you do everything right, you can actually completely bypass that problem, like completely ignore it and get straight to results. So I'm going to be teaching you how to master AI, because if recruiters are using AI, you guys should also be using AI. And a real strategy that has worked for our students in the last 2 months. So this is a very recent strategy that still works, and some tips, tricks, and some hacks, right? So let's move on to understanding the problem we're trying to overcome. And this is basically the problem. This right here is the problem in a nutshell. And in all sense of normalcy, this is broken. This really is. So this here, what you're seeing, is the actual journey of a Reddit user called Zishan Khan.
This is really, really cool to see, because I feel like many people feel the other side of this, which is the no answer, or even like they'll get a rejection letter maybe like 8-10 weeks later on, once they've actually finally hired someone, right? And someone presses bulk and bang, everyone gets an email.
Exactly,
but it's crazy to think, yeah, like it's such a thin, tiny, slither, obviously only one job, but it is harder and harder.
So basically, if you look at it in a closer sense, right, he had to send in over 1,000 applications to get a single offer. And forget about the offer, because like at the end of the day, you're most likely going to just be choosing one offer. It's very rare that you choose 2 offers. But from those 1,026 applications, he only got 3 interviews. Only 3 companies called him for an interview, and that's not normal. That wasn't the case like a few years ago. So that's the problem. So if you look at this, this is an epidemic at the moment. Thought leaders in the industry are starting to call it an epidemic. They're making documentaries about it. They're talking about it. They're making more people aware and teaching people how to kind of avoid it. And the thing is, the recruiters also need to understand that, hey, this system's broken, something needs to change. But we can't wait for change to happen to actually like move forward with our lives, right? A job is important. Everyone needs to like have an income. So that's what we're going to be doing here. So let's understand how we got here, right? How this epidemic became such a widespread problem. Because see, that story that I showed you of Zishan Khan, that was just one person's perspective of getting hired. And there's so many more. If you guys are active on certain communities, you'll see so many people just giving up or ranting about how they've been applying for months on end for not even to be called for an interview. It's widespread. It's not just an isolated incident, right? So I mean, like, look at this, right? So this was a comment thread that was there in Zishan Khan's post. It said, it essentially puts it all into a nutshell, right? He's an amazing employee, because we can say that because the statistics prove it, right? He got 3 interviews and he landed one of those jobs, right? So that shows that, hey, he's a great candidate. It's not that he was a bad candidate and that's why he got rejected like 800 plus times. What the problem is, or where things are going wrong, is the resume. It's not being shown to people. See, I'm not saying the resume is bad. I'm saying it's not being shown to people. The hardest part is always getting over the resume review stage.
I mean, have you been on the other side of this as well, Ashane? Like, in terms of, have you received, I mean, I think most of us have, like, received thousands of resumes. It's painful to go through.
Exactly.
You know, and I feel like this, just to be clear, this dude eBrain is the same graphic as he showed before, right? This is the same guy. He finally landed the job. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So this comment thread is under the same post, essentially.
Got it. So, like, the resume moment, there's a few things that happen when you open up a resume. The very first thing your brain does is actually scan for a recognizable company name. And you know what that's not helpful for is for markets you're unfamiliar with. So if you have, you know, Russia, if you've had, you know, 20 years working in Russia, and now you want to, you know, live in Europe, well, if you've worked with Yandex, which is the Google of Russia, then you'll be, you know, in Russia, it's a really big deal. In Europe, many people have never even heard of Yandex. So they're like, I have no idea. Like, it's not a brand they recognize. And so therefore, that doesn't pop out of them on their CV. And then there's a whole thing around formatting. Then there's, you know, the thing around, I can say whatever I want on a CV, and it's hard to validate, it's hard to verify. So really, you know, at that point, it's becoming more and more clear that the CV is broken, because this is a great example where he sent 800 of them out. And
I would actually say it's the CV. I think we'll go to a different slide and I'll show you, right? So if you look at this statistic again, I would argue that the CV isn't what's broken. What I say is broken is essentially, let's look at this, right? The application process has essentially changed, right? Yeah. So previously, remember in the beginning of the live stream, I said that as the number of applicants keep increasing, it's counterintuitive towards the applicant themselves. That's because when a recruiter gets like thousands of applications, it's not feasible for that person to go through each and every single resume. And the goal of AI tools that these recruiters are using is to make the job of a recruiter easier, as easy as possible, right? So I say that application process is what's broken. The more applications that you get, for example, if you have an ATS system, the recruiter is going to give it some parameters. It's going to say, hey, give me only the 1%, or like 5 to 1% is like a good parameter. They say, I only want to see these 5% of the CVs. Now, in that case, if that ATS system gets 1,000 resumes and 900 of them are perfect resumes, really good resumes, the ATS system doesn't care about that. It's going to use their prompts, how the tool provider has prompted it, to figure out what the top 1 or 5% or whatever parameter the recruiter has given, and completely reject everything else. Because the recruiter can't feasibly go through all thousands of the applications. So the recruiter is like, hey, within that 1%, chances are the recruiter is going to find someone good. And so it just disregards all the other resumes. So yes, a bad CV can make you get auto rejected. That can happen. But just having a perfect resume is not the solution for the problem at the moment, right? Because like
really makes. I think the part that resonates with me, this story, is also that on the side of everyone that does get hired, there's so many great people that just get overlooked. Maybe because the ATS has flagged them as being like, oh, actually, this weird criteria that the employers set, that they may not even know is rejecting great candidates, is actually rejecting great candidates.
Exactly. And the thing is, there are cases where it can reject a candidate where it even the candidate fits all the bills. It fits every single like check box. But he gets rejected just because of how much other candidates there are that also fill the same boxes. So one tip that I can give people is, when you guys are applying, like, try your best to apply to jobs within the first 48 hours. After the first 48 hours is when you're going to start seeing this problem, because the moment you essentially apply and there's already like 500 different applications, which is pretty common nowadays because there's so many people just bulk applying without even like thinking about what they're applying to, which again works counterintuitive to themselves. The chances are the bracket is already filled. Like the 50 to 100 resumes that the ATS is going to show the recruiters, it's already probably filled, and that could be a reason why they get rejected. So
let me just pause you there, Shan, because this is really good content. I just want to give a quick shout out. We've got Zara, your colleague. I think she's just sat next to you. She's in Decentraland right now.
Yeah, Zara Metana. Yeah, she is the head of partnerships.
Come on. We've got Vortex as well. Guys, thanks so much for being here. Again, just drop any questions in the chat. And if you are not in Decentraland right now, you can jump straight in, go to 6,88, and you'll see the Web3 career metaverse, or the Web3 career world in Decentraland. And but let's keep going. This is exactly what we've been thinking a lot about, Ashane. So I love that tip. Within the first 48 hours, that pool of the top 1% is probably already filled by the AI. So it's presenting it to the hirer. So if you're going to get past that, you need to be fast.
Exactly. You need to be fast. And if there's a way that you can bypass this, then you got to use this. And that's essentially what I want to like show people, a strategy on how you guys can like bypass an ATS system. Again, it's not going to like 100% always bypass an ATS, but statistically, we've seen a lot of success. And we'll go to the stats after like the next few slides, right? But that, in my opinion, is the root cause of the issue. It's a cycle. It's sort of like a paradox. See, the more people bulk apply, the more people keep applying for the same roles, and the number of applications keep racking up, the more there is a need for an ATS system to keep completely rejecting masses of CVs. So it's a paradox, right? And the trend of people starting to now bulk apply, and this trend of people not getting callbacks or even interviews, it correlates. If you go to like statistics sites and see, it correlates. So that is the problem that I essentially want to find a solution for, and that's what our career team did with one of these strategies. Now, this is not the only way you can do it, but this is something that I think more people should know about, because that's going to increase their chances massively. Now, this strategy works with a lot of other things. It's essentially kind of like one node connecting to another and another. All nodes need to be like in sync for it to work. For example, if you don't have a great resume, this strategy is not going to work. If you don't have the proper skills, again, this strategy is not going to work. But if you have those dependencies, and the problem here is getting that interview or making sure a human sees your resume, then this strategy is going to work. And that's what essentially our students have seen success with, right? So what we're going to be talking about is, if recruiters are using AI, you should too. And this is one of the most important things, right? It's the tools that you use to create your resumes, your portfolios, your job search, all of that, right? Some tools that we recommend, there are more tools that you can use for different reasons, but it's recommended that you have certain tools for these three reasons at least. One, for resume making and tailoring, right? Tailoring resumes, really important, but not in the way you might be thinking. We'll go on to more detail about that in a later step, but that's important. And I see a lot of people who are coming into Metana's boot camps who've struggled to get a job. One of the reasons why is that their CV is pretty bad. It's not that they don't have the experience, not that they're bad candidates or doesn't have the drive or the passion. It's just their CV is pretty bad. And some of these people, they use tools like Canva, they use tools like Google Documents, Photoshop to make their resumes. A few years ago, back when application numbers were manageable by humans, that would have been perfectly okay. It's not the best practice, but it would have been okay. But right now, AI can produce a incredibly good CV that ATS systems love to see. So I would recommend everyone use that to their advantage. And Metana, we've done a not a boot camp, a free workshop on how to actually use AI tools to create a amazing resume. You guys can go to our YouTube channel and watch that if you want. But yes, that's the first tool you're going to need. The second tool is actually your own ATS system, so that you can understand what ATS systems are thinking when they scan your resume. That information is really important because those systems can tell you what you need to improve, what's missing in your resumes. And some tools like Enhanced CV even have a feature where you can actually see the other resumes people have submitted and how your resume ranks up to those. Right? So that's, again, going to give you an edge. And another thing is a job tracker. A job tracker is pretty important. There's a lot of other features that you can get with CareerFlow, and some other tools are also important for this strategy that I'll show you. So now let's get on with the strategy itself, right? So this is a real case study of one of our students. The resume that you see here, Marcus Hall, he's not the student. We're going to keep the student anonymous. But that's just a template resume that we have made for one of our previous students. So yeah, by November, this student, he joined Metana, and at that point he was actually stuck for like 5 months applying on LinkedIn. He also told us that he bought LinkedIn Premium thinking that he would actually get a chance at getting an interview or getting hired. And these are the stats, right? He applied for over 400 jobs. It's much less compared to Zishan Khan that we saw in the beginning of our workshop, but it's still a considerable amount of applications. And the more applications you do and you don't get a call back, the more demotivating it is. And he didn't get a single interview, and because of that he got no offers, right? So that's what prompted him. He thought, hey, maybe it's time I upskill myself and pivot into Web3. He was a Web2 guy. He was not a Web2 person, not a Web3, sorry, he was not a Web3 developer, and he wanted to become a smart contract developer using Solidity. So he came to us, right? So once he completed the boot camp, and when he went to the hands of the career success team, we came up with a strategy, and we saw his profile, and we saw he had the skills. He's been upskilled. He's taken the right courses. He has all of that. So what's going wrong? They first made him an amazing resume, and we optimized their LinkedIn. We made sure he has a great portfolio, but he didn't see any success for like a month or two. He still didn't see any success. I believe he didn't get called for any interview, if I'm not mistaken. So then we decided, okay, something's wrong, because all his CVs, profiles, everything is properly polished, properly optimized, and yet he's not. So that's where we understood, okay, there's something wrong with the current application process. And that's when we started doing some research, talking to people, reaching out to hiring managers. And what we understood was that point in the application process where the CV goes through an ATS system, it has a massive chance of getting rejected, right? So we came up with a strategy to completely bypass that, completely ignore the ATS system, right? So that it started with stage one. We made a few personas for him. So this student, he was fine with getting hired as a Web2 developer or a Web3 developer. So two of the personas were a Web2 developer who also has the Web3 skills, and the second persona was essentially he was one of the best Web3 developers. And there were other personas as well, using multiple different angles. So with those 5 resumes, again, we used the tool Enhance CV to create them. We told him, To instead of applying, we told him to start distributing his resume. And so, how do you do that? Well, rather than just sending the resumes to the job applications on LinkedIn or Glassdoor or Web3 careers or anything like that, we told him essentially to use Google Maps at first to find recruitment agencies where he wanted to get hired. So this student, he was not from the USA, but he wanted to get a remote role in the USA or Canada or the UK. So what we told him was use Google Maps, find recruitment agencies in certain cities. So we started with New York, and then we went to other countries, did the same thing with UK and the Canada. And afterwards, we also found out some tools that can essentially take a resume and distribute it to agencies within their databases. So some of the tools are listed down here. Rabbit Resume, Sona AI, and Loop CV, they have that functionality, right? So combining all of this, we came up with a list of 450 or around 450 eligible recruitment agencies. So that is our list now. Now we have our leads. It's kind of like sales in a sense. We created a list of leads. Now we're targeting each and every one of them. So what we did was we go to their website, and so we go to their website, and their website, since they're recruitment agencies, they usually have a section where they ask for your resume so that they can go through it. And if they have a role that matches, they reach out to you. So we told him to send those CVs based on the persona and how well it fits that agency. And so the results were actually very interesting.
Can I just pause you quickly a bit there as well, Ashane, because you mentioned, and we'll dive into this because this is awesome. You mentioned Google Maps as the way of kind of finding those agencies. I also think the other approach is great as well, which is imagine you were the hiring manager and you are looking for a Solidity developer, right? You just Google that, right? Hire Solidity developer or Solidity developer recruitment firm, right? And there's all these recruitment firms who are pushing for attention on Google.
Exactly.
And they're all just kind of ranked. So Google Maps, but also a traditional Google search with keywords, which if you imagine yourself in the hiring manager's position, like those are the companies that they're going to, and then even try and find those lists that maybe pre-exist elsewhere.
Exactly.
But yeah, it's really, really cool.
The reason why this works is here the recruiters want your resume because they want to go through it and see if we have a role that you fit in. And the moment they do, they're just going to like call you for interviews. This is more, we're sending them we're distributing our CV essentially because they ask for it. Rather than an application, we see it and we're just applying and it goes through an ATS system. An ATS system is always programmed for one specific role with a specific checkbox, right? Majority of these recruitment agencies, they will essentially go through these resumes with a human because the thing is, this is it's not popular. People don't do this as much. They don't get that increasingly high number of CVs, and that's why the results are here right now. Of the 450 recruitment agencies, we didn't apply to all of them. I wouldn't say apply either. We didn't send the resumes to all of them, but we did send to a considerable number of them, and he ended up having
Oh, so sorry. I was going to say, even once that list is done, I can see what AI is coming down the pipeline with Claude, and their big thing this year is saying, expect AI to be able to do web-based tasks really well in the next 6 months. Right now it's kind of slow and painful.
You can have an AI agent do this for you.
Exactly.
Now, the reason why we wanted him to do Google Maps first, so it was done with Google Maps. So the reason why we want to do that was free. The tools that we have listed here, those are not free. But the Google Maps approach was a bit slow. We didn't. It was slow at the moment. So that's why we decided, hey, it would be good if you could use one of these tools. The tool that I believe he ended up using was Resume Rabbit. Rabbit Resume. But there are similar tools out there. You don't have to use Rabbit Resume, but you can use a tool that has a database of recruitment agencies that they're partnered with.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, the results, they're amazing, right? So he got 20 plus interviews. I don't remember exactly how many interviews, but it was more than 20. And the more important thing is he got offers for 4 roles, 3 of which were Web3, and one of them was for a Web2 developer. And this guy, our student, he ended up accepting 2 offers with a combined total of $120,000 a year. So he was able to completely bypass that application process.
How long was this? What was the duration? So you guys engaged with him, and then how long until?
Yes, this took around 3 months. So for 1.5, I would say, we weren't trying this. We were just going off on the resume, optimizing all of his profiles, and then we tried it. That's when we figured out, hey, there's a problem with the application process. And then for the rest of the time, we actually did this strategy, and it took about like another 1.5 months before he got these results.
So let me just recap. So you're saying, first things first, get your CV in order, use one of these tools to create then personas for those CVs. So you have
the personas, I would say it's good if you guys come up with them yourselves, rather than just like getting AI. Once you've got the personas, all you need to do is like give the AI your skills, your experiences, and it will produce a really awesome resume that matches that specific persona.
Really good. Oh, so the persona itself is almost just like a document that then you then tell your AI to, hey, just adjust this CV to speak to that.
It's
we have 4 different
manifesto of sorts. It's saying, hey, this is my persona. This is what this CV should essentially focus on. We give them exactly what kind of recruiters we're trying to aim, what kind of roles we're trying to aim to. Then the AI can do all the research on the roles that we've listed and figure out what skills there are. And that same persona has all of our details, the students' details as well. So those 5 personas can be produced into resumes using a tool like Enhance CV.
Really good. In those personas, that document that you mentioned, are we talking like a small paragraph, or are we talking 2 pages worth of text and context?
I wouldn't say 2 pages, but it definitely goes for like 1 page, 1.5 pages. It's not like a paragraph per se. There's not like big blobs of text or anything. For example, first it has a small description about what we're trying to aim here. Then we go on about what this persona targets. The targeting is really important. So then the AI will know exactly how to, like some certain keywords, right? ATSs work on a basis of keywords. So based on what we're trying to achieve with the persona, the AI will know what keywords to include. Then we have
Why do you think then, because this is incredible results, he went from 400 applications, no interviews, to then in a space of 3 months, I don't know how many applications he made, or maybe on this, but instead he changed his focus to work with recruiters and HR teams instead. Why do you think recruiters themselves still beat the traditional hiring process, which is you submit a CV and why are recruiters kind of winning at the moment in that space in terms of actually being able to generate real opportunities for job seekers?
Well, in a sense, the recruiter doesn't really mind if hundreds of applications get rejected, so long as that role gets filled within an X amount of time, right? Because a recruiter's problem is essentially to find the perfect candidate for a specific role. That's essentially their job. And to the recruiter, it doesn't matter to them. And this is very cutthroat, but unfortunately, that's essentially what it is with a lot of recruiters. They just want to see the best of the best and then pick and choose from one of those. The recruiters don't essentially want to go through hundreds of resumes. My reason, or like what I think worked here, is because he sent their resumes through a general line, and not to a specific role. So that if a recruitment agency has 5 different roles and someone says, hey, I have a CV that matches one of these 5 roles, the recruiter won't know exactly what that role is unless he goes through the resume, right? So what I think is happening is, when this CV gets submitted to whatever link they have up, either a AI system goes through that and figures out, hey, this is a match for this role, and it pings the recruiter, hey, a CV came from this route, rather than just grouping it with all the other applicants, because that's 2 different places they're coming from. The UTM parameters are going to be different. Or in most cases, they're going to have like certain interns or junior executive level HR people going through those resumes and see, oh, okay, so we have this role, this resume fits that role, and the intern or the junior executive is going to hand them over to the recruiter. That's my best assumption as to why this worked, because something else that we tried was actually reaching out to the recruiters using LinkedIn or emails. We didn't see much success there as well. Most of the time, they just left them on scene. They just got ghosted. So my assumption, I would say, is the recruiters or the person seeing that resume has to figure out why that resume is there, because he knows it's going to fit one of the roles. So it has to figure out what that role is, and that creates an incentive for essentially a human to go through it.
Really good. Great results.
Great results, actually. So this is something that we use with a lot of our students, but it's not like a uniform cookie cutter strategy, because everyone's persona is completely different. Everyone's profile, they're completely different. One strategy that can work for one student's not going to work. For example, the reason why this strategy worked for this student is because everything else was working for him. He had a great CV, he was a great candidate, and he could communicate really well. So we knew the problem was to get him that interview. The moment he got into the interview, we knew like we would see some sort of success, at least some. Right? So those different things need to be in line for this strategy to work, because that's how job hunting is. It's not a cookie cutter solution. And the more people bulk apply for all those job applications, the bigger this problem is going to get.
Yeah. Interesting. Really, really cool. So let me just repeat everything again. So it's obviously hone in on your CV, get it looking sharp using a CV tool that passes the ATS, build out personas so that your CV can be quickly adapted to the different types of personas that looks like, so the types of jobs and all the rest. Then actually use that to do that, those quick applies, so that can still work in the background, as it were.
That can definitely. I'm not telling you guys to like stop applying completely. That's not what I'm saying. And this student, we didn't tell him to stop applying at all. This was something new that we wanted him to try.
Yeah. And then after that is jump onto Google, whether it's Google Maps or Google Search, start finding those recruitment firms that specialize in hiring roles that you want to find, and hit them up, not in their LinkedIn, not on their not on their email.
We tried that as well. It just we didn't see notable success there. The conversations we had didn't really lead to anything fruitful. So that's when we came up with the idea that, hey, if you visit their websites, they have certain sections where you can just submit a CV in general, not for a role. So that was the turning point, I would say.
Really good. Keep going. I don't want to keep interrupting you.
That's essentially what I wanted to say. It's a strategy on how to bypass one of the areas where the application process is going wrong. So what I wanted to do in this session was bring to light that, hey, this is happening. People aren't alone. It's happening, and change is really important. Like, something needs to change, because this is not sustainable. There's record numbers of unemployment, and there's record numbers of layoffs. So change really needs to happen. So I just wanted to shed light on that problem, but I just don't want to make it like a bleak thing where, oh, we have this problem, we don't know. So I just wanted to share one of the strategies that we here at Metana have come up with to help our students get over that. So that's what I wanted to do for the community.
Well, it's really good. I'm sure that, I mean, there's definitely a lot of people here in Decentraland. Seen some nice little comments come through. Hey, we've got a raise in the house. Come on. We've got J-Name, Eth Max is still there, Vortex is still hanging around. Thank you so much, guys. And if you want to join for these last few minutes, jump into 6.88. You'll find the Web3 career world over here. A couple more questions though. You mentioned there as well, the world is really quickly changing. It seems to be more layoffs around AI. Hey, like, you know, making these layoffs because AI is coming in, needs to make room. And now like AI is determining who gets hired in some sense. And now AI is now generating those.
In some sense, at the end of the day, the human does decide who is going to get hired. But AI has a lot of power to reject so many people.
Yeah. What I was thinking about the recruiters, they're almost like a tastemaker for those companies. So the companies, what we found with Web3 careers, that often the first point of call for someone who has a job to fill is they'll just ask the network. Then if they don't know anyone on the network, they may just do a very quick search themselves on LinkedIn, or they'll use some little platform. And, you know, with Bondex, we've got a talent pool they can use as well now, so they can surface talent there. Then if they don't find what they want, then they'll say, okay, they have two options. Either they push out a proper job description and it goes out in the usual ways, and that's where they get this problem of, okay, what, thousands coming in. And then, but to your point, that's where the first 48 hours are really important, because you get in there, that's a good chance of actually getting seen. But then after that point, they hit this point of frustration of, man, like, I just want someone to handle all this for me and just send me high quality, top-notch candidates. Which is where those recruiters come in and say, hey, like, we'll take all that side away from you. And we'll just present you with the best. And they're almost like the trusted tastemaker.
It's not the recruiters that are doing that. It's the tools of the recruiters. So look at the tools and the companies behind them. They want more people to use those tools. And for recruiters to use those tools, it needs to make recruiters' jobs much easier. So they're incentivized to make sure only the best of the best resumes get shown, and everything else just, there's no point in showing them to the recruiter, right? So there's so many, it's a very multifaceted problem. It's not just one reason why the system is actually broken at the moment. There's so many different things.
One of the other things that we're seeing a lot is still this issue of, if you do create the best CV and it is kind of perfect and it does get past the ATS and you do get that first hire, a lot of hiring managers are actually letting us know that they're also seeing the inverse, which is when they get these people on the call, they're clearly not up to scratch.
Yes,
they have not done what they've said they've done.
Yes,
and
that's why I said for this strategy, all those other nodes need to be working. You need all the other things going for you for this strategy to work.
Yeah, you can't. I think that the hard part as well that a lot of companies have is when they do come in and they do, people do come for that first interview. There is now more and more tools. There's a guy I follow. He comes up on my socials, and he's this Scottish guy, and he loves calling out scammers. So have you seen him before? He's like, oh, I know you're in wherever, and name some random part of the world. And he goes, and I know you're, and he's got a live camera of them, right? Of like the way they work.
I don't think we're talking about the same person, but there's so many other people doing the same exact concept.
Right. Yeah, I love it. So this his new thing is also he speaks to deep fakes. And so he says to deepfakes, hey, show 3 fingers in front of your face to prove that you're not a deepfake, because it breaks, right? Like the filters that you get. And he's got lots of these videos now of deepfakes in trying to convince him that he's, they're from an establishment or whatever. And now with AI, you can look like someone else. You can now have a perfect CV. You can now have an overlay, right, to kind of give you prompts during it. It is getting crazy.
A lot of things, like it's forcing change at this moment.
Yeah. I really, really appreciate you walking through this presentation, Ashane. I think it's fantastic.
I was more than happy to do this.
If people want to find you on Twitter, I think we had a little chit chat before to get that done. Yeah, here we go. We've got you're on at Ash Pereira 001. Love that. And obviously the Metana socials as well. Anything you want to share with people right now and before you leave?
Yeah, actually, so for this people, anyone who is like watching this, anyone who is part of the Bondex community, Metana would like to offer a discount for anyone who would like to enroll with Metana. So Paul will be giving you guys a link. If anyone wants to enroll with Metana, you guys can send them that link. The link is a tracked link, so we'll know they're coming from the Bondex community, and they'll be getting a massive discount on any of our Web3 boot camps.
So good. And what kind of camps are they? What kind of things can people upskill on?
So we have 3 boot camps at the moment. One is for complete beginners. That is the Web3 beginner boot camp. You have the option of learning either Solidity or Rust through that boot camp. Then we have 2 other boot camps, the Solidity boot camp and the Rust boot camp, that are for more advanced people. That's targeted towards anyone who's a Web2 specialist. Maybe you're a software engineer, maybe you're a backend engineer who wants to pivot into Web3. So those are the 3 Web3 boot camps we have right now.
That is awesome. Well, thanks so much, Ashane. I'm just going to give a little shout here again to our little world here in Decentraland. Guys, thank you so much for joining. We got actually, we didn't get too many questions through on the socials. We did get this one through. Let me just, I need to bring it up. This one asking for context around fake jobs. It's quite a long question. Basically, of fake roles. 1 in 4.
Yes,
go for it.
That is another epidemic, and I could do a whole other workshop on it, because what he's talking about is true. It's true. Specifically in certain job boards, I don't want to name those, but LinkedIn's pretty safe because they have a lot of verifications and they're very strong on their security. But certain other very popular job boards are littered with fake jobs. Like more than half of their job database is just fake roles.
Wow.
It's fake roles.
Wild West out there.
Yeah, if you guys want, there's so many good thought leaders on certain platforms like Twitter or YouTube, if you guys like long form videos that talk about this fake job epidemic and how it's hurting the greater community. It's a great watch. I would recommend you guys watch it because it is another epidemic, just like the unemployable epidemic. It's very real. It's there.
Awesome. What we'll do is we'll put it as a link underneath this live stream wherever you see it. So we'll make sure we add that, so pin that across, and we'll also put the little discount code as well, which would be awesome. Yes. Great. Well, Ashane, thank you so much. It's been a really fun one, awesome. And we will have to get you on again because it's been fantastic.
Totally. I'll be more than happy. I'll be more than happy to.
Awesome. Thank you, Ashane. We'll see you on the next one.
Awesome. All right. See you guys.